Hello Warfarming, this is Jade's Videos, and this is Nightmare House 2019, the Dark Harvest Haunt Build Day 11. And I am so happy to finally say, today a lot was done. For quite some time now this year, I've been saying, not very much was done today, not very much was done today. Because, as I said when we first start off, not very much is done, but Halloween is next week, so things are definitely starting to crank up, and we're doing a bunch of work each day. And it was a bunch of very important stuff done today, so I'm very glad that it was done. And when I say important stuff, you can probably tell what I mean. I mean walls. Now, don't worry about all these writings on the walls. Those are from previous years. I actually have this writing facing this way, because it's going to be a behind-the-scenes section, which I'll tell this... I'll say this right now so you know for future reference. Whenever I say the quiet place or a quiet place, I mean the behind-the-scenes section, because I don't know why. I think my dad started it as a joke based off of the movie last year. Our behind-the-scenes sections we call the quiet place. So that's going to be a quiet place, that's going to be a quiet place, and over there is going to be a quiet place. Also, the behind-the-scenes sections are also actor pop-outs, so whenever I mention the quiet place, it might also be an actor pop-out, so just keep that in mind. It's where stuff is stored and where actors can hide. Anyways, let me show you what was done. Like I mentioned, don't worry about these walls, and this writing is actually facing a pathway, but I'm going to cover it up with either a scene setter or a spray paint over it black, so you can't tell. Anyways, let's get started. First off, the farmhouse fell again. It keeps falling in the wind. But now we have the porch and another porch leaning up against it so that it won't fall. So that means the porch on the farmhouse is no longer set up, but I'll set it back up eventually. Here's the first wall that was done, and this is a really awesome wall, because this wall connects to this tree, so we got the only wall in the Rector Farm section done. There's some stuff on there that I don't want to be on there. So yeah, it looks, and I might leave that fence, because though it does look kind of cheesy since it's spray painted on, there will be the Hillbillies hideout in front of it. But I don't know, there's no reason to really paint over it, because it works for the theme, so though it does look cheesy, I'd rather just keep it than spend the time painting over it. So here's the first wall, and the only wall in the Hillbillies hideout. The haunt always starts to look so much better when the walls are closed off, because you can get a better feel for how things are going to look and how the pathways are going to go. And it's one of the most important things in doing the haunt, is making the pathways with the walls. The windmill was put back together. It's still drying, because I believe it was hot glue used to put it back on. So it's still drying, that's why that rabbit statue is on top of it. So yeah, Rector Farm has that up. Hillbillies Hideout will probably go up soon, since this wall is up now. Simon's Slaughterhouse is not finished yet, but once I just kicked over a bucket. Once I write on top of there, it will probably be finished. It was secured much better with string and rope to this shed and to that pole. Of course, like I mentioned, Simon's Slaughterhouse doesn't look too great, but it's not really supposed to. It's supposed to be a broken down shack, and though you can tell it's cardboard, in the dark it won't matter. Like I mentioned, this is a facade that I didn't really want to spend too much time on, because it's not one of the most important ones. There's not a wall here yet, but just keep in mind that there will be. Nothing done to the inside of Simon's Slaughterhouse. It's pretty much the same. But we have this wall up, which there's going to be a doorway to the exit of Simon's Slaughterhouse there, so this wall's up. And this wall connects to this wall, which is the wall in the Forest of Lost Souls, and I chose the fence on this side just because I thought it would work better. So Forest of Lost Souls is a lot bigger than I originally thought it was going to be, because it's much harder to figure out how big each section is going to be when you're just imagining where the walls are going to go, but once you actually get the walls put up, you can definitely see how big they are. So, don't know how I'm going to fill all this space, because I was only intending on using Headless Horseman in here, because he definitely works in a farm theme, because, I don't know, he's holding a pumpkin, and Sleepy Hollow was a very rural farm type town, so he works. Limb Ripper definitely works in a farm theme, because this is supposed to be the forest surrounding the farm, so obviously Limb Ripper is going to go here. Smoldering Zombie to go in the fire pit, and Forest Demon just because he's Forest Demon. He would just look cool in here. Doesn't necessarily fit a farm theme, but with the story of this section of the haunt, I feel like he'll be fine. So that's originally what I was going to put, but dang, this space is so much bigger than I thought it was going to be. That I don't know. Smoldering Zombie's obviously going in the fire pit, because the only reason I'm using him is to make it look like he's on fire in the fire pit. Limb Ripper will probably go over there, and Forest Demon will probably go over there. So Headless Horseman, I'm left with the decision to either put him here or put him here. I really wanted him near the exit to the scene, so he might actually go over here, and Forest Demon will go over there, because I wanted him to be more well noticed. But there's not enough room for him over there, I don't think. So I don't know where to put him yet. I'll figure something out, but I don't know where yet. Because I feel like over here, this is more of a corner, so no one's really going to notice him. And over here, I just don't think he'd look as good. So I don't know yet. I'll figure something out. I'm just not sure where I'm putting him yet. But this wall's up. And then this wall's up too, which is dividing that. And then it's the first wall for the Dead Oaks cabin. And then on the other side of this wall, it's going to be an actor section and a quiet place, but that's a perfect actor section because the pumpkin patch checkout's going to be right here, so I'll have an actor in the checkout and jump out through the window. That will be perfect. And they've got a lot of space too, which is good, so they can just hang out back there. It's perfect. Let's see. Ooh, pumpkin patch, like I said. Pumpkin patch is just that one scene that I just gradually do little bits of stuff each day. But I got a new tombstone in here because I didn't want to use the one with all the skulls. Like I said, I was going to replace some of the tombstones with better ones. So this one just says RIP, which I think is better because it's not as cheesy. I mean, nothing against tombstones that have a bunch of skulls on them. I think they work better for Halloween displays, though, instead of haunts because they're not realistic. Whereas this one, though it is not realistic, it looks better than that one. Just because it just says RIP, it's just a plain tombstone, just looks better. And I put the creepy cloth on it, of course. Here's my pumpkin man. He's been staying up so well. I find it pretty ironic how the farmhouse, this giant structure made out of wood, keeps falling, but this pumpkin guy, made out of PVC, is fine. I mean, we did tie him to the fence, but even so, I would think that that string would come loose by now. I don't want to jinx it, so I'm going to knock on wood here. It's good to have a wooden fence right next to me, but it's just really weird that he is perfectly fine. He's made out of PVC, and then the wooden things fall every day. What else? Ooh, I made the Rector Farm sign. That's up here, and I'm pretty happy with it. Spray painted some blood on it. So it says, "Welcome to the Rector Farm, established 1827, state of Louisiana." So I really like this one. Give you a good look at it. And that's probably going to go... Ooh, I wasn't really I actually wanted to originally put a pole like here and put it in it. But now that I realize this pole is here, I think that would be so much better to just put it on this pole and then put the hat somewhere else. Because it's literally a pole already there, so it's perfect. Alright, that's what I'm going to do. I just realized that while filming this video. I wasn't even planning that until now. Now I'm going to go into the garage where my dad is still working on some walls in there. But let me just show you the walls that were done in the garage today. I'll probably put up the scene setters and the stables in the garage tomorrow now that the walls are being put up. And start decorating the garage. Alright, here we go. Looks like he's done. At least with this wall. So we got this big wall. It is taped on. It is not stapled like all the other walls because tape will hold because it's inside. So I already showed you guys the PVC frame, but now you've got the actual wall. You can see how it's starting to shape together. It blocks off all the boxes there. Of course, there's still some visible at the top, but in the dark, those won't be noticeable. So this is going to connect to here. It's just not connected yet because I still have to get stuff in and out of there. So it's not going to be connected yet. But there is going to be another wall here to block the door, and that, of course, that's not going to be connected yet. Probably not until the day before Halloween. I don't know yet because the thing is, I do need to get props in here. I need to start decorating the scene. So I don't know what's going to go on with this. There might just be an opening left for this door. I don't know yet, but hay bale popper, he's back together. I don't know if I showed you that yesterday. I'm just going to use him as a static. I think I already mentioned this. And I might borrow Max, I don't know yet, and then use Max as the actual hay bale popper, and then just use mine as a static. I don't know yet. Or I just may just use mine as a static and just not worry about it. He is a good scare, but, you know, I've got plenty of other scares that using him as a static and not having him as a scare might be fine just for 1 year. Actually 2 years, because he didn't work last year either, but, yeah, I'm probably not going to keep him here. He might stay here. Like I mentioned, he might go in the pumpkin patch, but he might stay here because I do like how he looks right here. Unless, of course, if I borrow Max, then I'll probably put Max right here so they get a scare as they're leaving the farm, at the barn. If not, I'll just keep this one right here. So, Screeching Bat, you guys already saw this. Ooh, and this is the attic to the house. I'm probably gonna hang a body from there. That would be pretty cool. Have a body hanging from the attic because it will be like the rafters of the barn, pretty much. So that would be pretty awesome looking. And I decided there's going to be no stables on this side, because this is just going to be a workbench in the barn, so it's just going to have chopped up dead bodies and stuff, and tools and all of that. The stables will only be on this side. Not entirely sure how far they'll come out yet. Probably pretty far, I just don't know exactly where yet. But those stables will have the jumping spiders in them, and all of that stuff. So, there you go. That's everything that was done today, and I have no clue what this song is if you're asking me. It's on a Halloween rock playlist, so don't ask me what is that song that's playing. I don't know. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this build. I'm very happy with what was done today. And I forgot to mention, more poles were actually put in. I didn't even mention the poles because I was so consumed with the walls covering the poles that I forgot to mention the poles themselves. So, the poles that were done were, let me try to remember, this one, and this one, and that one. So the only poles left that need to be done are, I believe, 2 right there to connect the walls to, because the wall cannot connect to these because these are metal, so they can't be stapled to these, so there's going to need to be poles there for them to be connected, unless we just put tape around them. I don't know yet. Depends on what the weather's like. But yeah, that's a thing. But so yeah, tomorrow's plans are to finish the walls in the barn and put up the scene setters, and then do the stables and start decorating the barn. And some other things I would hope to get done tomorrow, but I'm not entirely sure if they'll get done, is the Hillbillies hideout facade. At least start it, because that one needs to be done, because if you guys remember, that was actually the first build video. Actually the second, because the first one was the blueprints. Here, let me flip the camera around. If you guys remember, that was the second build video, was the Hillbillies hideout. But that thing got ruined by the rain, and the structure, the framework wasn't too great for it. So there's going to have to be another one built, and that one, the reason I haven't shown the Hillbillies hideout at all is because it hasn't been started on, but it definitely will get started on. I'm hoping tomorrow will be a day that the Hillbillies hideout gets started on. I'll try to think about what else will be done tomorrow, because tomorrow is Wednesday, so we're halfway to the weekend, and the weekend is obviously when most of the work is done. It's the last weekend until before Halloween, but I'm not worried, because the week of Halloween, my dad takes off the whole week, and I usually take off the day before Halloween, the day of Halloween, and the day after. The day after doesn't really apply to any builds, though, because Halloween's over. It's pretty much just the day I take to relax from the night before and not be depressed, or try my hardest to not be depressed and not go to school because I'm too depressed. That's not the reason I don't go to school. I don't go to school because I'm tired out from the night before. But yeah, the only thing that really helps with me not going to school that day is that I'll film a daytime walkthrough that day. It has nothing to do with the build. So the extra days that I'm taking off to build are the day before Halloween and Halloween itself. I'll always take those days off. There's no year that actually, the first year I did a haunt, I did not take the day of Halloween off, because the haunt was much smaller. I take the Halloween off now because the haunt is huge, and so a lot of work needs to be done on Halloween day, and if I waited until school got out, I'd have like 2 hours to work on finishing touches, and then we'd open. There would not be enough time. And day before I take off to get a bunch of work done as well. But the first year I did a haunt, it was so small, and it only had 4 rooms, and I had a lot of props, but nowhere near as many as I have now. I think I only had like 5 life sizes, so I didn't really need a lot of time to carry stuff out and, put stuff in the right spots and do finishing touches. And also, my old school used to do early releases every Wednesday. The first year I did a haunt was a Wednesday, so I got out at 1:30, so I had I had quite a few hours to do stuff until we opened. But that's the only year that I ever went to school on Halloween. Actually, when I used to go trick-or-treating, I did, obviously, but it's the only year that I've done the haunt that I went to school on Halloween. Every other year, I stay home, and I work on the haunt all day from like 9:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. when we open. It's just non-stop work. And I hope to get most of the haunt done before Halloween Day this year. There's some things might not be done until Halloween Day, but I hope to get most of the haunt done until Halloween Day this year so that I can spend Halloween Day placing props in the front yard for the displays I'm doing. Because now that I have to worry about that and the haunt, I want Halloween Day to be focused on the displays, because obviously props for the haunt can go out a couple days before Halloween, whereas the props, because the whole haunt's in the backyard now, whereas it used to be in the front and backyard. But now, what am I trying to say? Props for the haunt can go out a few days before Halloween, whereas props for the displays I'm not putting out until Halloween because I don't want them to get stolen or anything. So those ones can't go out until Halloween Day. So I'm hoping to get most of the haunt done. I know there will be a few finishing touches I'll do on Halloween Day, but I hope to get most of the haunt done on the 30th, and then just worry about the displays on Halloween Day and do some finishing touches to the haunt. But the haunt is obviously the main thing. The displays are just a cool little thing I want to do just to draw people in to get them to go to the haunt. So the displays just benefit the haunt, because if people see this house with a bunch of props down the street, they're most likely going to go because, 1, they either want to see the props, 2, they realize there's a haunted house there, or 3, they know that we hand out candy because we are going big. So it's a good way to draw people in. And that's also, I just want to do displays because they're cool. But main focus is obviously the haunt. Always has been the haunt. Haunt is always main focus because that is the thing that we are here for. That is the reason that we stay home on Halloween, so we can do this haunt. And honestly, doing this haunt, I want to tell you guys this. This is going to be the video I say it. I wasn't going to say it. I was going to hold it a secret for some time. And I wasn't going to say it until... I wasn't even going to say it this year, but I'm going to say it. Nightmare House is ending in 2021. Yes, I know. You're mad at me. Listen. Nightmare House is ending in 2021, but I'm starting a new haunt in 2022 called House of Fear. And the reason I'm doing this decision is because 2021 is Nightmare House's 10th anniversary. And it's a year that, I really want to wrap up the story of Nightmare House, because the story of Nightmare House has been going on 8 years now, and I feel like for the 10th anniversary I should wrap up the story, because obviously Nightmare House takes place in Louisiana each year, and it just gets kind of limited sometimes. Like, I can never do a mummy theme, I can never do a vampire theme, because those are other parts of the world. Whereas I get limited on what I can do in Louisiana. I've found very good themes to do, like pirates can definitely be in Louisiana, hell can be anywhere. And farms are definitely in Louisiana, because Louisiana is in the deep south. So I've found things that I can do, but I definitely want to start doing a haunt where each year it takes place in a different place. And Nightmare House tells the story of a town that went abandoned in the 1800s after it was taken over and everyone was killed. Obviously, you guys know the story. But when you're walking through the haunt, you're supposed to be walking through it in present day, seeing the aftermath of what happened. And I want to start doing haunts where you can see the story take place, where it's like you go back in time and you're seeing the events take place in front of you, instead of the aftermath of what caused it all. But so I feel like it'll be better That way it'll be easier. But I'm still super excited for these last 3 years of Nightmare House, including this year. It's 3, but not including this year. There's only 2 years left. But yeah, there's still 3 years for you guys to see Nightmare House. Not telling my theme for next year or the year after that. I haven't planned, but ever since 2017, it's been kind of wrapping up the story of Nightmare House. Things have been wrapping up, and you guys will definitely see what I'm talking about when I release the film or the short skit released on Halloween Day that explains this year's backstory. You'll start to understand what is going on and how the town of Nightmare is finally going to reach its demise. So these last 3 years of Nightmare House are really telling the story of the ending. And so I'm going to, each last 3 year is going to be about a very significant point in Nightmare House's history. Well, Nightmare's history. So this year is obviously the Rector Farm, because I wanted to do a farm theme, and the Rector Farm is one of the things that started Nightmare turning into the hell it is. And so it's very important in Nightmare House. Jackson is a very key character in Nightmare House lore, so I need to do that. And then next year and the year after that are also other key things that made Nightmare House what it is. And maybe you can guess what the last year of the haunt is going to be. I'll give you a hint. It is the one theme that has prevailed through every year of the haunt, except for this year, since 2012. And it is the one theme that has been featured in the Nightmare House lore movies the most, and it plays the most important role in the story. Not going to say anything else. Not going to say anything else. Because right now, I don't really want to talk about next year's plans or the year after that, because one, I don't want to give them away, and two, I'm excited for this year, and I want to go full force focused on this year, because it is almost here. It is next week, guys. Halloween is next week, and I'm super excited to be doing a farm theme, and I'm super excited for this chapter of Nightmare House, and the beginning of the end, as I would like to call it. So, hope you all enjoyed. I know this is a long video because I wanted to get that news out, so you kind of understand this year's story better once you see the short film that I'm going to make based off of it. You'll understand better what is going on and what is happening and what in the world is going on with the Rector Farm. So, that was all for this build and this little informational speech at the end to tell you future of Nightmare House and what this year is all about, and you'll see the backstory of this year on Halloween right before the haunt opens. So for anyone coming to the haunt, you can watch it on YouTube so you understand what the story is before you walk through. You'll see it earlier in the day, and then later that night you can witness it in person. Or if you're not coming to the haunt, you can watch it on YouTube, and then the next day you will see the walkthrough of the haunt, and then you can witness the events take place. But obviously the skit or horror film that I'm doing, it's going to be a horror film, but it's probably only going to be like 5 minutes long, because I'm only doing it to explain backstory. It is going to, I'll tell you guys, it's going to take place through before Halloween night. It's going to be the events that led up to this Halloween. It's going to be, starting point is going to be last Halloween, where last year left off, and if you don't know where last year left off, Dr. Voodoo had Jack finally dragged down to hell after hundreds of years of tormenting people, so Dr. Voodoo can be the one to torment people from now on, since he is the one who caused all the chaos and nightmare. In doing so, the demons of hell were unleashed on the town of Nightmare, and they burned down part of the town. And now the only places in the town remaining are the key places: the Rector Farm, the Laboratory, the Olders Mental Correction Association, the Hex Manor, and the Hex Residence. So those are the only places remaining, and yeah, it's exciting that you know, this story's like having a very momentous ending. Don't worry about that. But yeah, so the short film that I'm going to release is going to take place in between the events of last Halloween and this Halloween, so that you can kind of see what led up to to this year, and then on Halloween night, you'll get to see what the end result was and what is happening, and the chaos actually unfold. It'll be like the whole short film will not have a climax at all. There will be no climax in the film, because that is going to be the rising action, and the climax is going to be the haunt itself. Never done something like that before, but I'm really excited to do it. Have a short film lead into the haunt. I'm really excited to do that. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street the movie 3 kind of explained the story of last year, but it also just told the story of a lot of Nightmare House. But this year, it's just the whole rising action for what's going to take place on Halloween night, and then the climax is Halloween night. And I might do another short film the day after Halloween or a couple days after that will explain the aftermath of Halloween night. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this super long build video that was mostly just me talking about plans. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Keep howling at the moon, my werewolves.
Hey, come back. You don't play fair and you're making me angry. But maybe if you subscribe to Jaden's videos and join the werewolf army, I'll let you live another day. But it's not guaranteed.